Actually, these telephone poles right here were put in by the city, so that's right here is city property. Therefore, it's public property.
I thought I'd start this video with a bit of comedy. Those dulcet tones were of Jeremiah Payne, Last Days of Freedom, and he is standing on the property of the federal government, Fort Campbell, but he believes it's city property because of some telephone poles. You shouldn't really go by telephone poles, Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah, who isn't always known for telling the truth, put this document up on his YouTube channel, and there was some doubt as to whether it was legit. However, on the basis of what we've been able to find out, it is legit, and he does face an appearance in court, and I suspect he is charged under section 1382 of Title 18 of the US Code. This carries a maximum sentence of $500 and or up to 6 months in jail. Now, unlike Jeremiah Payne or Lackluster, who also did a video on this, I have done my research and found out where the property boundary of Fort Campbell is. A hint, it's the purple line. And for most of his video, Jeremiah Payne was standing on the Fort Campbell side of that purple line. He was on federal property. Hint for all auditors, telephone poles do not indicate that you are on city property. Now I just want to follow this purple line for a bit up the road, and you'll notice that sometimes the purple line does actually do different things at different intersections. That's why you have to do your research carefully, Jeremiah. Now, quite a big channel, Lackluster, did a feature on Jeremiah's video, and unfortunately he doesn't do his research either.
This is where things get tricky. The first officer immediately declares that AOA isn't doing anything illegal. Based on maps available to the public, this blue line with diagonal hashings designates a recreational area, while the long thin black line interrupted between each hash with a dot and subdued red coloring indicates a military border. AOA was filming from here, and based off this map, it appears as though he is outside of the military's boundaries.
Lackluster, you need to look at that legend again. It's not just the black line with the dot, but it's the colour, which is light pink, and if you'll notice that light pink goes up to the road.
The military police officer believes they own the entire road, but that information is conflicted by this map. The only issue is that this map was created in 2010.
Right, a couple of points. Both cops, actually, the military cop and the city cop, are incorrect. The boundary is quite clearly indicated in the earlier part of this video from the GIS survey.
And when citing it, there is a disclaimer that says it may not be complete or accurate. It's possible that the boundaries have changed or this map is wrong, but
due to the very nature of the width of the lines on this map, it's impossible to actually tell where the boundary is, and you need to do better research.
But when we look to TCA 55-8-138, pedestrians on roadways, it states that where sidewalks are not provided or are obstructed, any pedestrian walking along and upon a highway shall, when practicable, walk only on the left side of the roadway, or its shoulder facing traffic that may approach from the opposite direction, which suggests that AOA is within his rights to be where he is. His location even has a pedestrian ramp.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, Lackluster. He hasn't been cited for walking as a pedestrian. Did you notice what was on the ticket? Criminal trespass, photography prohibited. Nothing to do with his presence there. It's what he was doing there.
But the MP declares that the Fort Campbell's boundary stretches across the public road seen behind them, which again would put anyone driving with a dashcam in violation of the post's policies.
He hasn't been charged in accordance with the post's policy. He has been charged in connection with a breach of US code. Plus, as I think I have identified, the actual main road is not part of Fort Campbell. And the military cop was incorrect on that point.
Your property.
Correct. This is government property here.
Government property is
This is
public
federal
property.
This is no. This is military installation. This is federal property. So just because
Then y'all need to put up signs to better.
I understand.
Instead of
so just
this.
because
Jeremiah, not everyone is as stupid as you.
this wall is there, that doesn't necessarily mean that up to the grass of the road is not property. Right?
So what happens
So
if
just
I
like-
don't move over there?
So then we will charge you.
Charge me with.
Violation of Cam Break 19-1.
I think here you have a problem with a military cop dealing with a civilian. Obviously, the policies are one thing, the law is another thing. Again, an error by the cop, but cops are allowed to make errors.
The supervisor is referring to CAM Regulation 190-1, which details the Fort Campbell Physical Security Program. Section 18-1 covers prohibited photography and states, all personnel while on Fort Campbell are prohibited from photographing, conducting imaging surveillance, or sketching facilities without prior written approval. Unfortunately, there is a disagreement between AOA and the officers of whether or not AOA is on Fort Campbell's grounds, and neither side is prepared to submit.
And this is really where I have a problem with Lackluster. You're encouraging people to take arrests, which aren't needed. If civil rights have been abused, you don't need to break the law to prove the point. Remove yourself, follow the orders, and then follow up with the claim. Now, what will happen if Jeremiah intends to plead not guilty? On the basis of prior incidents on military bases, quite often a deal has been done, so no prosecution proceeds. However, the individual no longer films in and around military bases.